Hey everyone, welcome back to Range of Reality. I'm Jody Salerno, firearms instructor and safety strategist. I want to take you on a little walk. Close your eyes just for a moment. Picture a gravel trail. It's morning. The air is cool, there's a thin smell of earth, and someone's dog barked a minute ago and then faded. Leaves are crunching under your boots. The sun's cutting through the trees. You feel calm. You feel safe. Now keep that image because in 15 minutes, that same place can feel very different. And I want you to be the person who knows the difference before it happens. I want you to leave this episode with mental pictures, a few words you can say out loud, and a handful of simple habits that tilt the odds in your favor. Today, we're stepping into the woods, literally and figuratively, to talk about something most people never think about until it's too late. Violence in remote places. Now, I'm not talking about paranoia. I'm talking about preparedness, because when you're out on a trail, deep in the park, or camping miles from help, you are your own first responder. This episode is about trusting your instincts, reading your environment, setting boundaries that could save your life, and making smart, tactical decisions before something goes wrong. So let's start where all safety really begins, your mindset. But first, let me tell you about my sponsor. If you ever have to defend yourself, the fight doesn't end when the threat is gone. Legal trouble, court cost, lost wages, it all adds up fast. And that's where the United States Concealed Carry Association comes in. They provide award-winning self-defense training and education, but more than that, they've secured liability insurance for their members that helps cover bail, legal fees, and other critical costs after an incident. So if you carry or care about protecting what matters, visit usconcealedcarry.com and see why peace of mind is part of being prepared. It's my sponsors that allow me to do this podcast, so please support them. So let's talk about mindset. Most of us, especially women, have been conditioned to be nice. Don't make a scene, don't offend anyone, don't come off as a bitch. But you know what that really means? It means we've been taught to suppress our natural survival instincts. Every animal in the woods, deer, fox, birds, they all have the same wiring you do. They sense something's off, they decide whether to move forward or bolt. That's survival instinct. Humans have it too, but we bury it under social pressure. We override that gut feeling because we don't want to overreact. Here's the truth. If your gut tells you something's wrong, it's already late. So start honoring that instinct again. You don't have to be rude. You just have to be decisive. And here's the second mindset shift. You don't get to go back to your car for your safety. If your flashlight, pepper spray, or situational awareness are in the car, you don't have them. When an event starts, what you have in that moment decides the outcome. So bring the right mindset and the right tools every single time you step out. Situational awareness isn't complicated. It's simply paying attention to your environment and how it affects your safety. That's it. It's asking who's around me, what's normal in this environment, and what's not normal. Notice who notices you. That's a big one. When you walk into a space, a parking lot, a park, a wooded trail, scan. Make brief eye contact. Acknowledge people. Because if someone's watching you, you want them to know you saw them. Now let's go back to our walk that we envisioned earlier. You're on the trail in the morning. The air's cool, thin smell of earth, someone's dog barked, and the leaves are crunching under your boots. You feel calm. You have earbuds in. Your music is playing. You feel safe, and you're thinking about the day. Then your phone buzzes in your pocket. You glance down, and you notice that someone's approaching you from behind. Now I want you to stop right there. I want you to replay that scene two different ways. First way we're going to play it is you keep walking. You're listening to the music and you ignore the buzz. You don't hear the pace of those footsteps closing in and the person getting close enough that you can hear their breathing. You don't notice their hands. You don't look up until they're too close. And that's a terrible situation to be in because you've given up information. You gave away your edge. And that's not awareness. That's hope. Second scenario, something small changes. You're walking along, you look down, you remove one earbud, you slow down, you slide your hand briefly to the buckle on your backpack. When the person passes, you give them a quick scan, hands, eyes, and the way they move. That small pause just bought you time to read them, and it also bought you time, distance, and clarity. Survival is about small moves made early, not big heroics. Small, boring, repeated choices that create distance, clarity, and options. And you'll be amazed how much your brain starts to pick up once you start giving it permission to look. So I want you to try something. The next time you're on your walk, I want you to breathe and count 5 steps to yourself. And then do a 360-degree visual sweep. Do the front of you, the left of you, the right, and behind. It takes 5 seconds. That's it. You want to do it and you want to make it a habit. Let's be honest. Women are often told not to be the problem, not to make waves, not to seem rude. So many of us scramble to smooth things out. But the instinct that makes you cross the street when the car is coming, that's the same wiring that will save your life in the woods. You don't need to learn awareness. You already have it. You were born with it. You just have to stop apologizing for it. That gut feeling, that unease, that's your primal alarm system, and it's always been there. It's time to start listening to it again. Now we're walking again. This time you hear footsteps behind you. Instead of speeding up, you stop. You step halfway off the trail into the leaves where you can still see the path, but the person's going to have to pass you. You pretend to sip on some water, anything that lets you see them before they pass. Why? Because being behind someone who can't see you is tactical disadvantage for you. Being to the side or slightly ahead lets you control what happens next. Even though it might seem safe to be behind someone since they can't see you, it actually limits your ability to influence or respond to their actions. You can't easily see their hands or their face, so you can't see cues of aggression. You're reacting to them instead of anticipating what they'll do. And if they suddenly turn or move on you, you're in a weaker position. Being to the side or slightly ahead lets you control what happens. You see their body language and can anticipate moves. You control space and distance. You can move in any direction if you need it. And you can influence or lead the interaction rather than just reacting when they come into your view. And there's a 3-part read. When you're looking at someone, you want a 3-part read: hands, eyes, and movement. Look at their hands first, always. Hands kill. Hands hold weapons, tools, and intent. If you can't see someone's hands, you can't read their purpose. So are their hands visible or in their pockets? Are they carrying a bag oddly or angled? Are they tugging at their jacket or adjusting their waistband? Those are all pre-attack cues. Hands tell the story. Next, look at the eyes. Are they scanning the trail? Are they avoiding eye contact with you? Or are they locked on you? Predators track their prey. They'll coincidentally look your way too often or freeze when you look back. You don't need to stare someone down. Just make controlled eye contact. It says, "I see you." And that alone stops a lot of bad plans. And then you're looking for movement and contrast. Clothing that doesn't fit the environment, an odd gait, clumsy gear. These are all red flags. So ask yourself, does what they're wearing make sense for the weather? In other words, do you see someone wearing a parka and gloves in July? That's data. Does someone have a limp that vanishes when you look at them? That's a small but powerful tell. So imagine you're hiking mid-afternoon. It's hot, it's bright, there's an open trail. There's a man in a hoodie and gloves walking slow. He keeps turning. He's not smiling. He's not looking around. He's just scanning you. Your alarm bell should be going off. You don't want to be polite. You need to reroute around him if possible, or stop and let him move ahead. If he keeps approaching, say out loud, "Hey, are you all right?" That forces him to be public and audible. It's an excellent social test. It makes you harder to isolate, and predators hate being identified. Predators use camouflage through context. They blend into an environment just enough to look normal, but act out of sync with it. That's what you're looking for, the out of sync behavior. On a trail, distance and direction matter more than anything. So if you hear someone behind you, don't just hope for the best. Stop, step aside, and let them pass. That small decision buys you tactical advantage. And when you pause, you can evaluate them. Hands, eyes, demeanor. Now, if someone approaches your campsite or your vehicle or your space, set boundaries early and out loud. Here's what you say. "Hey, can I help you with something?" Or, "Please stop right there." Or, if they keep coming, that's your signal to act, move, create distance, or leave. Every violent encounter you avoid is the one you win. If someone refuses to stop when you clearly tell them to, that's a major red flag. That means they're trying to hold tactical advantage over you. They're closing distance, keeping the upper hand, and that's not accidental. You don't owe anyone proximity. When you're camping or hiking, you decide the rules of your space. If someone keeps pressing forward after you draw a line, it's time to disengage or escalate your readiness. You may think about de-escalation. It's a great idea in theory, but it's a two-party agreement. You can't talk someone down who's high, drunk, or determined. And that's why the priority is always avoidance, distance, and clarity. And by the way, everything I'm saying applies far beyond the woods. Parking lots, store entrances, rest stops, gas stations, these are all transitional spaces where people let their guard down. So I want you to role play. I want you to pretend someone's coming towards you and they ignore you after you tell them not to and they keep closing in. You don't need to argue, you need options. You need to start moving decisively towards a junction, a trailhead, or a populated area because movement itself changes dynamics. And practice setting boundaries out loud. Practice right now. Say them out loud once so they feel natural. Excuse me, are you with the group ahead? That's friendly, but establishes you're alert and it creates distance. Please stop there. I need a second. That's neutral but firm. Or back off now. That's your final line. Make a move to leave simultaneously while you're saying it. Each one escalates clarity and buys you distance. If someone ignores your verbal boundary, they're not confused. They're testing you. Don't debate, don't explain, move. Step off at an angle, not straight back. Diagonal movement changes the geometry of the encounter and gives you more control. Movement creates control. Standing still creates vulnerability. And you've got about a 6-foot awareness bubble around you. Think of it like radar. Inside that bubble, reaction time drops dramatically. The average person can cover 6 feet in about a half a second. That's not enough time to process, react, or defend. So when you feel that bubble getting smaller, act before it's gone. And your tactical advantage is distance, light, angle, and information. Distance is your absolute priority. More distance equals more time. Light reveals intent, so keep the sun at your back or use ambient light at night to see better. Angle changes control. Be off center, not directly in someone's path where they can corner you. And information decides everything. Know who's around, who's watching, and what's missing. Is there no cell service? Are there no cars nearby? Every time you stop, glance around and identify 3 exits. Where's the road? Where's the next campsite? Where's a cross trail? Say them out loud. Left fork, parking lot, creek bed. The brain memorizes what the mouth repeats. You don't have to be paranoid, you just live aware. This one's gold. Campsite selection is not romance, it's real estate. You're choosing where you'll spend a vulnerable night, maybe with the family or the dog. When you pick a campsite and pull in, before you even unpack, walk 5 minutes around the site. Look at the bathroom and the trash area. If you see drug paraphernalia, orange syringe caps, burnt foil, or baggies, that's a clue. It tells you this place isn't monitored and you should move on. It means there's drug activity and zero supervision. Look at the fire ring. If it's filled with burnt trash or melted plastic, someone's been living there. That's not camping. That's staying hidden. That tells you the place attracts folks who don't want to be monitored. And notice the vehicles. Is there a single truck with headlights still on at midnight? Don't rationalize it. Just move to a different location. And watch for noise patterns. Does the place feel balanced or does it have long stretches of eerie quiet? Isolation can be peaceful or dangerous depending on what's around you. If you get that instinctive off feeling, trust it. It's easier to move 5 minutes down the road than to try to leave at midnight when something feels wrong. And your camp layout, you want to use the back door rule. Position your sleeping area so you have a back door, a way out that doesn't require you to cross someone else's space. Position your tent or rig so you have 2 exits, your fast one to the road and your quiet one through brush or a tree line. Don't set up in a cul-de-sac. When you're setting up, think about your exits before you think about your view. A lot of people parking deep in a cul-de-sac because it feels safe. One way in, one way out. You can see anyone who drives in. But here's the problem. If something or someone blocks that road, you're trapped. You've given up mobility for comfort. But if you do end up in a parked cul-de-sac, fine. But have a plan. Keep your vehicle angled toward the road so you can pull out fast without backing up. Stage your keys, your phone, and flashlight in a spot near the door. And yes, if you're in a camper, that back window can be an emergency hatch. Just don't make it your only plan. Climbing through a window in the dark with kids, dogs, or gear isn't fast or quiet. Set up so you have some options. That's the whole point. Drive forward if you can. Park so you can pull forward out of the sight, not backed out. That's faster and safer under stress. Angle your rig toward the exit. Even a 10 to 20 degree angle lets you leave forward. If you can't face the road, at least leave enough room to maneuver. Clear a window lane. If your emergency exit is a window, clear 6 to 10 feet behind it so you don't land in branches or a trash pile. In tent placement, put tent door toward the vehicle or toward a clear egress path, not facing a line of trees where someone can hide. And stow the stuff you need first near the door. Phone, keys, headlamp, small med kit, tourniquet, whistle. Put it all in a bag, a go bag. If you have to run, you can grab it and go. Before you set down the chairs, walk your exit routes. Time them. Know what's fastest in daylight and in the dark. We already talked about why a single entry spot can trap you. Here's what you can do if you end up there. A window exit works as a contingency, not a strategy. Relying on it as your primary escape has several downsides. If your camper window is the only route out, great. Treat it like your emergency rope ladder, not your driveway. Always set up so you can walk out before you have to smash out. Breaking a window, getting out and climbing away is slower and more awkward than walking out in a clear path. Kids, dogs, or gear don't fit easily through a window. If you've got backpacks, coolers, or a dog, a window escape becomes complicated fast. There's physical hazards with that. Glass, height off the ground, slippery mud, or trees right behind the camper can injure you and slow you down. A window doesn't help you if your vehicle is physically boxed in. Truck blocking the road. Getting out of the camper still leaves you stuck without a drivable vehicle. In darkness or thick brush, you can't see a safe path after you get out of the window. A pre-scouted back route is far safer. And if someone's injured or you're dealing with blood loss, hauling them through a window is impractical. You want a viable exit for an injured person. If you're in an RV, know how long it takes to become mobile. If it's long, make sure you have easy, quick release set up for the gear you'll need. First, phone, keys, light, IFAC kit, anything else you need to get out in under a minute. If you use an RV or trailer, do this quick check immediately. How long to be mobile? Items hooked to shore power, slide outs extended, awnings out. How long to pack up and move? If more than 5 minutes, stage bridge gear near the door to shave time. Slide out priority. If mobility is limited, make sure windows, doors you might use are not blocked by gear. Generator and propane. Know how to cut power fast if needed. If fire or attack, cut the noise, heat signatures if it helps you move. Close your curtains that expose you to passerbyers, but keep small peepholes or consider leaving one-way film for windows so you can see out. And do a get-out drill once you arrive. 1 minute. Grab your bag. 2 minute vehicle start. 3 minute move. Time it. And buy solar motion lights. They're cheap, effective, they're brilliant. Set them around your perimeter like silent alarms. If a nearby camper looks sketchy, don't assume law enforcement will be nearby. Make your departure plan and move sites if you're uncomfortable. Early evening, make a little noise. Talk, sing, light a small fire to show presence. Not to antagonize, but to be visible. Predators like silence and isolation. And let's talk about where most people go from confident to careless, the campsite. When the sun drops and the fire's glowing, your guard drops with it. And that's when safety becomes comfort-based instead of tactical. You can do everything right tactically and still end up in trouble because of an invisible gas or a glowing ember you thought was out. You know what kills more campers every year than predators or accidents? Carbon monoxide. It's invisible, odorless, and it builds up fast. So buy a $30 CO detector. You want to mount it at head height where you sleep and check it every trip. If you're using a generator, propane heater, or portable stove, understand fuel behavior. A lot of people think generators are harmless because they're outdoors, but carbon monoxide doesn't care. If there's no airflow, it'll pool, especially in low-lying areas like valleys, hollows, or under RVs. Keep it 20 feet away from where you sleep and point the exhaust away from tents or open windows. Never run them under awnings, inside garages, or near vehicle intakes. Check your wind direction so exhaust doesn't blow into tents or open windows. Avoid low ground. Carbon monoxide pools and dips and hollows like water. And don't rely on I crack the door. That's not ventilation. If the alarm ever goes off, don't wait to see if it stops. Grab your people, open doors and windows, and get out into fresh air immediately. You can always check later. You can't undo a fatal dose. You can't see it, you can't smell it, and it doesn't care how tough or prepared you are. CO builds up from anything that burns. And remember, never run fuel burning equipment inside an enclosed space. No exceptions. No charcoal inside the tent. No propane heater in the camper with the windows shut. You don't get a second chance with CO poisoning. Now let's talk about the campfire. Everybody loves them. They glow, they smell, they're comfortable. But fires are like firearms. They don't forgive carelessness. Every year, wildfires start with just embers. Someone thought they were out. If you build a fire, you own it, from first spark to cold ash. And here's your checklist. You prep your fire ring. You clear at least 10 feet of space around it. No dry leaves, no sticks, or overhanging branches. You keep a water bucket and a shovel within reach. Don't rely on "I'll get some later." Watch your wind directions, your gusts. A strong wind can throw sparks 20 feet. And never leave it unattended. Not to run for wood, not to just grab something. And before you sleep, pour water on the fire, stir the ashes, pour again until you can touch it with your hand and it's cold. Warm coals can reignite hours later. I don't care how good you think you are. If it's glowing, it's not out. If you can't touch it, it's still alive and it can spread. That one step is the difference between good camper and cause a wildfire. Cold to the touch is your only safety standard. Camping safely isn't just about bad people. It's about being disciplined with the elements. So set up smart, kill your fire cold, run your generator where air moves freely, and use a CO detector like your life depends on it, because it does. Those two silent killers, smoke and gas, take more campers every year than any predator ever will. So don't be the one who trains for every what if and gets taken out by something invisible. So before you go to sleep, your nighttime routine is fire cold, CO detector armed, motion lights set, go bag by the door, phone, lights, keys, whistle, med kit, doors locked, keys in the same spot every time, and your vehicle is aimed forward. You're not scared, you're prepared, and that makes all the difference. If you're sleeping in a rig, do a mobility audit. How long to be mobile if something wakes you up at 2 a.m.? Can you get from sleep to start to drive in under 2 minutes? Now let's talk gear without the fluff. I'll tell you what I carry, why I carry it, and how I use it. Then I'll tell you the things that are useless. Don't let someone sell you toys. You want tools that reliably increase options, not ones that make you feel safe and do nothing when you need them. Carry a tactical flashlight, not just a keychain one. The difference, a tactical light gives you the sun in your hand. At night, that light gives you control, identification, and deterrence all in one. Reliability increases options, not ones that make you feel safe and do nothing when you need them. So your flashlights, not a keychain one. Those are good for finding a zipper, not for controlling a scene. You want a tactical, handheld, 500 plus lumen. This is your identification and control tool. Turn it on and people move. A bright light temporarily blinds at night. It gives you seconds to decide. So practice sweeping with it, not strobe and hold. Next is your pepper spray. I carry pepper spray every day. Look for a fog or a mist, not foam or stream. Avoid mixed formulas with CS or tear gas. Stick with pure pepper spray and understand limitations, wind, weather, and distance. If someone tells you foam is better, they've never used it in the wind. And your rules for pepper spray? Fog, mist is better for short-range area denial. Stream and foam are less forgiving with the wind. Your holster choice, front of body, quick access, test draw with gloves on. And you want to practice, buy an inert training unit and rehearse presentation and press direction. Muscle memory beats adrenaline panic. Always check wind direction and avoid using it on a windy ridge where it will come back to you. And spray to create immediate space, then move. Spray plus stay equals trapped. Use it to create an exit. As for knives, listen, I've trained with them. I've seen the aftermath. Knives are intensely personal and brutally violent. They're a last-ditch tool, not a first choice for defense. Stun guns and tasers, don't assume they'll work. Cheap ones often fail. If you choose one, buy quality and train. And knives, they're tools and weapons. If you carry, accept that it's a violent option. Train and retention, close range defense, and legal consequences. For most campers, focusing on distance tools, light, spray, noise, and egress is more realistic. If you carry, you train, period. One class a year isn't training, it's attendance. You need to know your draw, your sight picture, your malfunctions, your stress response, and your legal boundaries. You need to know when to shoot and when not to. Owning a gun you can't deploy under pressure gives you a false sense of security, and that's how hesitation turns deadly. Firearms are like fire, powerful, unforgiving, and final. You earn your competence through repetition, not ownership. And stop the bleed, save a life. If you learn one medical skill, tourniquet application is it. In the woods, arterial bleeding kills in minutes. If someone's bleeding out, jam a tourniquet on tight, then pack and pressure. Practice applying one on yourself and a willing partner until it's muscle memory. In your IFAC, individual first aid kit, you should have 2 tourniquets, hemostatic gauze, chest seals, pressure bandages, gloves, and shears. That's your lifeline. Learn how to use them, learn how to stop bleeding. Pack a wound and keep an airway open. When help is 30 minutes away, you are the paramedic. That's not fear-based, that's reality-based. Picture this, you're camping, it's 2 a.m., you hear a crash, your hand hits the flashlight. You grab your go bag, phone, keys, pepper spray, tourniquet. You light the area before you step into it. You see the situation before you react. That's how you keep from making tragic mistakes. That's how you move under pressure. Here are a few bite-sized drills you can do this week. 5-step sweep. Every time you move from parking lot to trail, count 5 steps, then do a 360-degree front, left, right, back sweep. Say out loud what you see. Boundary line practice. Say the 3 scripts out loud in your car. Excuse me, stop there, back off now. Hear how your voice changes with each. And your IFAC kit, open your kit. Find the current tourniquet and apply it to your leg in under 30 seconds. If you can't, practice until you can. And the light drill, in a safe, dark place, practice flashing a tactical light to identify a sound, then sweep slowly. No strobe, control. Do one of these every time you leave the house for a week. Then tell me what changed. We've covered a lot today. Mindset, awareness, campsite setup, lighting, carbon monoxide tools, and medical. And you don't have to master them all at once. You just have to start. The woods can be a beautiful, peaceful, healing place, but it can also be unpredictable. Violence doesn't just happen in cities or back alleys. It happens in parks, campgrounds, and quiet trails. Anywhere people cross paths. Every time you avoid a violent encounter, you've already won. So be your own first responder. Be your own light in the dark. Be prepared enough that if something ever happened, you don't panic, you act. That's real strength. That's situational awareness. That's what makes you a hard target. If you found this episode helpful, please hit subscribe so you never miss a show and share it with someone who needs this message. The more we spread awareness, the more lives we protect. And I'd love to hear from you too. If you've ever come across a situation that pertains to this episode, or if you have a story about how you handled it, DM me. Your experience could be the encouragement someone else needs. And if you want a free 1-page trail and campus safety quick sheet, I've got you covered. Grab it at rangeofreality.com. It's a checklist version of everything we talked about: real estate, light, gear, med, and boundary lines. And finally, for my favorite products that help keep us safe, visit my Amazon store, amazon.com/shop/ready-train-fire. I've curated the gear I trust and recommend. And if one thing sticks from today, let it be this: small, early decisions win. A 5-second pause, a simple boundary line, and a tourniquet in your pack can be the difference between a story and a tragedy. Until next time, stay aware, stay capable, and as always, put some gravel in your travel.